Police officers in Portland reportedly left racist, ableist remarks on a survey over some recent training to help them be better towards the LGBTQ community. So now this is according to a story from Oregon Live. Unidentified officers left these derogatory remarks on an anonymous survey, lucky for them, on training about how to refer to and interact with people in the LGBTQ community. This is a way to try to, that was put forward by the city to try to make it, to restore trust between the police and these communities. So now the statements, according to city hired consultants, revealed ableism, racism, and white supremacy, and the need for more equity instruction. I don't know if equity instruction is gonna solve the problem of people, that are expressing views of racism, ableism, and white supremacy. I don't know. I don't know how much, I guess, diversity inclusion is going to change these people's minds. So now, the Bureau's Equity and Inclusion Office, which works out of the police chief's office, had developed this training last year, again, in order to try to restore trust between police and the community. Apparently, that's not going well. Dennis Rosenbaum of Rosenbaum and Associates, the firm monitoring their police bureau's compliance with federal settlement agreement, said the chief's office was alerted about the problem of course, racism, ableism, and white supremacy. During the second quarter of 2022, staff in the chief's office and city officials had promised to address problematic ideologies expressed in the surveys. But the consultants had said in their latest report that they had, quote, yet to see a response. Oh, no, we'll get to it. Yeah, no, we'll do these, equity and inclusion programs. That'll fix the problem. Apparently not. You know what fixes the problem? Getting rid of the racists and white supremacists from your department. That would get rid of it real quick, wouldn't it? Also, we should get rid of qualified immunity. But anyway, so now staff in the office, again, had promised to do this through some courses. All officers last year were required to complete online training called the 2022 Vocabulary in the LGBTQIA2S+/queer community, as the Bureau adopted a new directive titled Interacting with Members of that Community. Now, the directive identifies that as an acronym for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and or questioning, intersex, asexual, two-spirit, and the countless affirmative ways in which people choose to self-identify. So, look, I think that's great. I think it's wonderful. But you also have to have people there who have an open mind, who have the ability to empathize and to understand why inclusion is necessary. You're not going to be able to get a bunch of racists in the room or homophobes or transphobes and be like, hey, by the way, you should respect people's pronouns. What are they going to do? They're not going to respect their pronouns. Again, it's for these people, some of these people, it is hardwired into their identity to be horrible to other human beings. And I don't know if you can have an inclusion program that is going to fix that. Now, this directive, and by the way, I'm not even saying that this directive is a bad thing. I think it's a great thing. I'm just saying that there are people there, you're not going to change their minds. Those people do need to be excised from the program. You think, wait a minute, oh, you're doing the ultimate cancel culture. You're going to make them lose their jobs. If they cannot represent all the people that they're supposed to and protect the people that they're supposed to, then yeah, they shouldn't be doing that job. If you're not going to do the job that you're supposed to do, then yeah, you shouldn't be in that position. I know that's a crazy thing to say. How dare you? I'm doing the cancel culture. Why? Because, again, this is like saying a person who was part of the Klan, and this It's not like this example hasn't happened. It has plenty of times. Klan members, as police officers, policing the black community. What do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to be fair and equitable to the people they're supposed to protect? No. No. That's not what's going to happen. So now, but anyway, let me get into more of the details here. This directive also prohibits officers from engaging in harassment and discrimination based on identity, expression, and sexual expression. Again, all this stuff is good. It says officers shall not ask anyone about their anatomy, medical history, or sexual practices unless it relates directly to a criminal investigation. All of this is, again, should be standard for all police officers. They should also not make assumptions about orientation or identity, and may need to ask someone about their identity to complete a police report, evaluate a bias crime, or for other official purposes. To determine their identity, the directive says officers shall respectfully ask how the person identifies and by what pronouns. Again, all of this is being super nice and respectful, which is what they should be all along. They also say that officers should not frisk or search people or view or touch their genitals for gender identification or for any demeaning or harassing purpose. So all of that stuff, and the reason I'm going through that and letting you know how reasonable this is and how it costs them literally nothing to be respectful is that you have people that are complaining about having to be respectful. That's it. That's what's going on here. We don't want to be respectful. Oh, we don't like them people. Well, then you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of the cops that do this. I'm sorry. People need to be fired if they're not going to do the job that they're supposed to do in the way that they need to do it. LGBTQ people are part of society. They need to be respected. Their pronouns should be respected. Everybody's pronouns should be respected. That's it. Simple. People's personal space needs to be respected. Of course, look, policing in America, they're pretty famous at not respecting people, especially minorities and people that are in disadvantaged positions. And so, now, more details. While Bosenbon's report didn't cite specific examples, and they should have, it said that the feedback from some of the officers was indicative of racism, ableism, and white supremacy, but noted that he didn't know how widespread the problems might be. Quote, but we do know there are people in the organization who hold these feelings. Then get rid of them. Now, the police chief, of course, was like, oh, hey, no, we're going to downplay this completely. And he did not respond in the Bureau to these remarks because, quote, anonymous responses serve the purpose of informing policy and training without the threat of discipline, and commenting on anonymous responses would only serve the purpose of quelling respondents' true responses. So, would therefore be inappropriate. Basically, we don't want to know. We don't want to know who among you is the racist. Because then we would actually have to do something about it. We would actually have to, punish them or get rid of them. Now, we can't do that. Because nobody would want to be a police officer if we actually hold them accountable. Make them do the job they're supposed to do. Now, this spokesperson for the police, Lieutenant Nathan Shepard, added that Rosenbaum's report didn't say officers actually used the language, but the anonymous comments were indicative of such language. Potato, potato. They say he referred to black people, or they referred to black people as monkeys. I don't know if that's racist. Everybody likes monkeys. I don't know what you're talking about. This is ridiculous. No, it's a cop-out. This is a cop-out, literally. He also argued, by the way, that indicative could literally mean anything in today's world, where almost anything someone says can be offensive to someone else. You know how they are. They're so, easily offended. What snowflakes? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're always looking to be offended by somebody. No, this guy, terrible, terrible person. Not buying it at all. Again, it's not like we haven't found racist attitudes among police and in policing. There's stories out literally all the time of like, oh, this police message board filled with racist comments. Hmm. Or oh, we've got another racist, recording of racist police officers. Here we go again. With or oh, we've got another story of police officers shooting an unarmed black man. Can't figure out if there's any sort of racism in our policing, though. No, I think it's quite obvious. Quite obvious. I don't know if there's something about law enforcement that attracts racists. Maybe their desire to hold some sort of power above other people. In fact, I think that's probably exactly what it is. Wanting to hold power over people that they don't like in order to come for them. And all from their own deep-seated insecurities. Look, I understand the attempt of what, Oregon is doing. And I appreciate what they're doing. Because I think inclusion is important. Being respectful. This is something that I say all the time. Yes, we do need more respect for, all the diverse communities. Absolutely. But like, cops are not going to take, there's a lot of cops that are not taken to it. Some are, and that's great. But I'm not, I don't know how many don't and how many actually have these deep-seated hatreds towards the people that they're allegedly supposed to protect. And so you can't really trust them. You can't really trust these officers to treat everyone equally the way that they're supposed to under the law. And so there's a lot more work that needs to get done on that front. And we're nowhere near close to having a police force that any community, other than, of course, wealthy white people can trust.